Maya Brooks opened her eyes to a ceiling that glowed with soft purple light, and her first thought was that she had died, and this was some kind of afterlife. But then pain rushed through her left side, and she knew dead people probably did not hurt this much. "Where am I?" she whispered, and her voice came out rough like she had been screaming. A figure moved into her view, and Maya blinked, trying to focus on what she was seeing because it looked like a person made entirely of blue crystal with light moving inside their transparent body. "You are awake," the figure said in a voice that sounded like wind chimes, and Maya realized this was not a human at all, but something else entirely. "What are you?" Maya asked before she could stop herself. I am Zylara, and I am a crystalline from the 4th sector, and you are very lucky to be alive, human," the alien said, and leaned closer with concern in her strange glowing eyes. "My ship," Maya said suddenly, remembering the explosion and the way everything had gone bright and hot and wrong gone. Zylara said softly, "And I am sorry, but you were the only survivor and we found you floating in an escape pod." Maya tried to sit up and pain shot through her ribs, but she gritted her teeth and pushed through it anyway because lying down made her feel helpless, and she had learned a long time ago that helpless got you killed. "You should not move," Zylara said with alarm in her voice and reached out to stop her, but Maya was already swinging her legs off the medical table. "I need to find out where I am and what happened and how I can get home," Maya said and stood up. Even though her legs shook, "You are on Nexus Point Station," Zylara explained, and watched Maya with fascination like she was observing something impossible. "And this is a trading hub between 12 different species territories." Maya looked down at herself and saw she was wearing some kind of thin medical gown, and her skin was covered in healing burns and cuts, but nothing felt broken anymore. "How long was I out?" she asked. 3 days, Zylara said, "and you should have been out for 3 weeks, but human healing is faster than we expected." Maya nodded and looked around the medical bay, which was filled with equipment she did not recognize and beds that seemed designed for bodies very different from hers. "I need clothes and I need to know what my options are," she said. Zylara made a sound like crystal bells ringing, and Maya realized it was laughter. "You humans are as stubborn as the stories say," the alien said, "and yes, I will help you. But you must understand that rescue is expensive, and you now owe the station a debt." Maya had expected that, because nothing in space was ever free. "What kind of debt?" she asked. "Labor," Zylara said, "and the station manager will assign you tasks until your debt is cleared." "Fine," Maya said, because she had worked hard jobs before, and this could not be worse than welding underwater in the North Sea, where one mistake meant drowning in freezing darkness. Zylara provided her with clothes that were meant for aliens, but Maya made them work and then led her through corridors that curved in ways that hurt her eyes, because the station had been built by species that did not think in straight lines. They entered a large office where a massive reptilian creature sat behind a desk that looked too small for his bulk, and his scales were deep green with patterns of gold. "This is Kresh," Zylara said, "and he manages the labor assignments." Kresh looked at Maya with yellow eyes that had no warmth in them. "A human female," he said, and his voice was a low rumble, like rocks grinding together. Maya met his gaze and did not look away because predators respected strength, not fear. "I hear I owe you for saving my life," she said. "You do," Kresh agreed, "and I have just the jobs for someone of your unique durability." Over the next few weeks, Maya discovered what Kresh meant because he assigned her every dangerous job that came through the station. She repaired cooling systems in rooms so cold that the alien workers refused to enter because their bodies would freeze solid. But Maya just wrapped herself in extra layers and got the work done, while her fingers went numb. She welded broken hull sections in the vacuum of space where radiation levels made the aliens sick. But Maya had grown up near old nuclear plants, and her body shrugged off exposure that should have killed her. She cleaned toxic chemical spills that melted through alien protective gear but only gave Maya a rash that faded after a few hours. The other workers started gathering to watch her, and they whispered among themselves about human endurance and whether the stories about Earth people were actually true. One day, while Maya was elbow deep in a malfunctioning engine core that was still hot enough to glow red, a voice spoke behind her. "You are making the rest of us look bad." Maya pulled her arms out and turned to see another human woman leaning against the wall with a smile on her. "Scarred face, Tessa Wright," the woman said and held out her hand. "And I have been on this station for 2 years." Maya shook her hand and felt relief flood through her because she had not realized how much she missed seeing another human face. "Maya Brooks," she said and wiped sweat from her forehead. Tessa looked at the engine and shook her head. "They are testing you," she said, "and every job Kresh gives you is supposed to be impossible." "I figured," Maya said, and went back to realigning the engine components. "But why?" Tessa asked. "Because they want to see if the stories are true," Maya said, and reached deeper into the mechanism where the heat made her skin feel like it was burning. But she had felt worse. The stories about human women being tougher than nails and meaner than vacuum, Tessa said with a laugh. "Something like that," Maya agreed. "They are scared of us," Tessa said quietly, "and that makes us valuable but also dangerous. So be careful." Maya nodded and finished her work, and the engine hummed back to life over. The following days, Tessa taught Maya about station politics and which aliens could be trusted, and which ones saw humans as either threats or tools. Maya learned that humans were rare in this sector because Earth was far away and travel was expensive, and most aliens thought humans were either myths or monsters depending on who told the story. She learned that human women especially confused the aliens because many of their species had females who were smaller or weaker or more protected than males, but human women worked and fought and survived just as hard as human men. Then one night while Maya was sleeping in her small quarters, the station alarms began screaming and red lights flashed through the corridors. Maya pulled on her clothes and ran toward the central hub where workers were gathering, and Zalara found her in the crowd. "The reactor core is failing," the crystalline said, and her internal light was pulsing with fear. "And if it goes critical, the entire station will be destroyed." "Where are the engineers?" Maya asked. "They cannot enter the reactor room," Kresh said, and his voice was strained because the radiation levels are already lethal to every species on this station. Maya felt her heart pounding because she knew what was coming. "Next, except humans," Kresh continued and looked at her with something between hope and shame. "How lethal?" Maya asked. "You would have perhaps 15 minutes before the exposure killed even you." "Zylara," said Maya, looked at Tessa, who had appeared beside her. "I will coordinate from outside," Tessa said firmly, "and talk you through the repairs." Maya nodded and turned to Kresh after. "This," she said, "my debt is paid, and I am free." "Agreed," Kresh said without hesitation. Maya put on the best radiation suit the station had, which was designed for a species with 4 arms, so it fit her poorly. And then she walked toward the reactor room while every alien in the corridor moved away from her like she was already dead. The doors opened, and heat and light and the taste of metal filled her mouth. Tessa's voice came through the radio. "The containment field is collapsing and you need to manually reset the magnetic locks on the north wall." Maya walked into the room and her suit immediately began screaming warnings, but she ignored them and focused on finding the control panel. Her hands shook as she worked, not from fear but from the radiation already affecting her nervous system. "First lock reset," she said. "Good." Tessa replied, "Keep going." Maya moved to the second lock, and then the third, and her vision started to blur at the edges. "How much time?" she asked. 11 minutes. Tessa said. Maya finished the 4th lock and then the 5th, and her nose started bleeding inside her helmet. The 6th lock was stuck, and Maya grabbed a wrench and hit it with all her strength until something gave way. "6 done," she gasped. "3 more," Tessa said, and her voice was tight with worry. Maya's legs felt weak, but she forced herself to the 7th lock and her fingers fumbled with the controls. 8 minutes, Tessa said. The 8th lock clicked into place. "Almost there," Tessa encouraged. Maya stumbled to the 9th lock and her hands were shaking so badly she could barely grip the tools. The radiation alarm in her suit had stopped screaming and started making a continuous tone that meant the sensors had maxed out. "Last one," she whispered. 5 minutes. Tessa said. Maya reset the final lock, and the reactor core's angry red glow shifted to blue containment field stable. Tessa shouted, and Maya, "Get out." Now Maya turned and walked toward the door, but her legs gave out halfway and she crawled the rest of the distance. The doors opened and hands grabbed her and pulled her through. Zylara was there and stripped off Maya's suit and ran scanners over her body. while making distressed chiming sounds. She absorbed enough radiation to kill 50 of my people, Zylara said in disbelief. But she is still breathing, Kresh said, and was staring at Maya like she was something holy. Maya tried to speak, but only managed. A weak cough rest, Zylara commanded, and I will do everything I can. Maya woke up 2 days later feeling like she had been beaten with hammers, but alive. Zylara was beside her bed, and when she say,